Okay, good evening. We're live and recording. Great to see you here. Welcome. My name's Simon Campbell from Round the Clock Trader, IX Media, IX Investor Show, and various other projects that I'm involved in. I'm joined here tonight with my good friend Charlie Burton from charlieburtontrading.com, and we're going to give you a very brief, maximum 30 minutes, an update on an amazing trading challenge that Charlie has undertaken himself, and he is in the middle of trading that. I think doing fairly well, but we'll get into that quite shortly. And we're also going to talk a little bit about the gold membership trading community. A lot of people from Round the Clock Trader have been taking advantage of an offer to join Charlie's trading community with a free 30-day trial. So we'll talk about that as well a bit later on. But I'd like to introduce Charlie very briefly first. A lot of you will know him already, and I'm going to ask him once we've introduced him, who can just give us a quick update on the market today, because I know in his trading group he's got his partners are actually giving their community the update in the live room right now. So I'll ask Charlie if he'll give us an insight into what's happening. Charlie, very briefly, first of all, if I can introduce you, you are currently a regulated, authorized money manager. You do run professional funds. You are a self-taught trader, I guess would be fair, with over 20 years experience, but unusually you didn't come from a financial job in the city. You came from, I think you were I think, was it Scottish Provident?
Yeah, I came from financial world. I came from Scottish
Yeah.
Provident, then Old Mutual Fund Managers, but I wasn't a fund manager. I used to advise financial advisors on
Yeah,
our
I was just going to say
services.
you sort of crossed you crossed the divide. For a lot of people think you come from banking and things like that. Oh, trading's easy, but you did pick up and trade yourself
Yeah.
and followed some mentors, but quickly became a mentor yourself. Fast forward through very successful Easy Trader. You've now relaunched CharlieBurtonTrading.com, which is a growing community of traders with Charlie at the helm, providing live tuition, community signals, copy trading, and some more. There is a fund as well where I believe it's possible if you want to just copy trade. We'll get into all these things, but
Yeah.
a huge amount of things. It's all going up. But one of the great things that Charlie's done over the years, and this is not the first trading challenge you've done. You've done, I think, 2 or 3 of them. I think the BBC made a program as well. They met you at one of the shows, and they then that gave birth to a full documentary, Millions by the Minute, I think it was called. And they followed you around a bit like Ed, that film with Matthew McConaughey, and they follow you around and featured, how a day trader works and things and so forth. But it's these challenges that I think that are very interesting, because you wear your heart on your sleeve. You live or die by the sword. Everything is open for scrutiny and all above the board, very transparent. And I think they're a great testament to, you can shout from the roofs to say, look, the strategies I'm using are working. They've worked for me, and here's a way for you to learn, to share in that. But how do you? I can only say it so many times. So to see it categorized on, and I know we've got some portfolio reports later on we can have a look at. But it's a fabulous thing. It's very brave, because I've worked with hundreds of traders through the years doing webinars and shows. And you are in the minority of traders that will actually open up their secret black book and show you exactly what it is that they're doing. So commend you for that. So great to have you here, Charlie. Thanks for coming. We've got some people here as well, live in the room. I will double check, because I haven't seen any questions or comments yet. I'm going to double check that you can hear me okay, and that we're not being talking to ourselves. So if you're there on the webinar at the moment, do drop a hello or a yes or something into the chat box. Great, Allah. Thank you. It's worked. I hadn't pressed the right button, so we're all live, which is good. So, Kamal, thank you. So everybody's here. Welcome. We will record this as well, so we'll put it on to YouTube later. But let's get started. Charlie, what maybe today we just have a look at what's been catching you. I mean, I noticed in the background of the charts, you've got the Bitcoin chart and the euro dollar. I think they're all the charts look like they're going down at the moment. Is that the big news of today?
Not necessarily. Well, some of the overall, yes. The Bitcoin chart is going down. Well, I did have Bitcoin up there when you were talking to me earlier on, but it's changed now. It's now on 30-year government bonds. I can't hang around for you, Simon. We've got to move on. So, yeah, and the euro overall trend is down, like many of the currencies against the dollar, because the dollar, as we all know, the predominant dollar story, bull story. So, yeah, I mean, I think do you want me to share a screen at the moment?
If you would, that would be great. We'd just have a look at the charts and see.
Okay.
It'd be interesting to know if anybody else has been trading today that's on the webinar. Let us know what you've been trading. Any updates? Everybody seems to be cooling off in the UK after the big heat wave from yesterday. So maybe,
yeah,
maybe you're out in the rain.
It's a lot better. It is raining. It is indeed. It's been raining here where I am for the last about hour now. Thank goodness for that. So I'll just quickly pick on the euro dollar. It's the biggest currency pair here. We all know the predominant trend being down, but I think you've picked up, Simon. What's the movements on the day? And really, the euro started out the day marginally positive, like many of the currencies did against the dollar. They started out on the front foot because they have the euro's been rallying since last week. It's put in about 300 pip rally off the lows. So, and many of the other currencies have done similar rallies in relative terms. So today they've decided to give it back a little bit. Now, as we know, it's the ECB meeting or culmination of the ECB meeting tomorrow. And so we have the press conference at, I think it's at 1:45 UK time tomorrow, where Christine Lagarde will be speaking. So I would always at least expect some movement in the euro ahead of what is seen to be a volatile market event, such as we're having there tomorrow. So posturing going on, possibly. Is that it? Is the rally over and this is the beginning of the next leg down? We're going to find out by tomorrow afternoon. And so, yeah, I think it's starting to get interesting now. We're at that point where, it's rallied 300 pips off the lows. Is this the beginning of maybe a larger retracement? Because the argument is that, well, one is, do the ECB surprise the markets and go for 50 basis points as a rate hike? They expected to do 25, but do they? Some market participants are looking for 50. I think if they do go to 50, naturally we should see the euro dollar push higher on that news. But the elephant in the room is its FOMC next Wednesday. So we only go so far before the big dogs come out and the US Federal Reserve then go through their 2-day policy meeting and then the culmination of that as well. So we're going to be stair-stepping our way through these markets, I guess, over the next until we get through to then. It's very much baked in that the Federal Reserve are going to hike rates by 75 basis points. There's a small possibility that it could go 100, and so we'll have to see. But the market is already priced in 75 basis points. So really, it's just a case now: is this the beginning? Can the euro dollar have a larger retracement of this move that it's had, which has been going on for the last several months, as you can see? Or are we about to have another crack at that parity? Because we dipped through parity last week. We got down to about 99.50, and then we reversed off that, and this is where we've had the bounce from. So only time will tell, I guess. But yeah, it's become an interesting day there for the euro. It was a bit boring for most of the day, and it's just sold off in the last few hours.
Is it fair to say, Charlie, that euro dollar is one of your favourite pairs to trade?
Yeah, that's a leading question, Simon, because you know that it is. Yeah,
But I think this is the point is that you have a smaller maybe range of pairs that you trade, but you become an expert. You know how the FOMC will impact as well, and there's
yeah,
something there to be said for focusing
focus.
on maybe sort
Yeah.
of fewer charts as opposed to hundreds.
Yeah, I think it's a personal choice. There's plenty of my traders in our membership who are trading a number of different markets, but even those that are trading more markets, most of them are trading sort of up to 10. That might be their watch list of up to sort of 10. So because I am a believer that you're better off focusing. And really, if you're going to be trading, for example, currencies, then most of the currencies, for a lot of the time, they'll move very similarly to each other anyway, because they're against the dollar, whether you're trading the pound dollar, the euro dollar, whatever. I
Mhm.
tend to trade the euro dollar because of it's the biggest, it's the most liquid, and it's very stable, and I have a load of research that I use on it, and analysis I do on it. So I pile my analysis into the euro dollar as first and foremost, because really the euro dollar is the bulk of the dollar index. So if I can get my head around the dollar index, and by consequence the euro dollar, there's not much else I need to do. But I will trade other markets. Fun enough, Simon, I'm in another market at the moment. Shock horror. I'm in a New Zealand dollar trade. What's that
Ah,
all about? But
oh,
so it
that
does
sounds
happen. But
exotic. Exotic.
the exotic.
What are we looking at in terms of these lines? I don't know the experience of everybody in the room. There's a few names that are new, a few names that I recognise. Good evening to you, know who you are, Vic and Peter, and it's good to see you all back here. And Carolyn, I think, is here as well. But for those of you that are new, what's your experience like in the markets? Does this chart look familiar to you? Because we're looking at some channeling, we're looking at some moving averages, we're obviously looking at the price behavior, which is being visualized through what we call candlesticks. The green and the red are the periods where the price has moved higher and lower. So just let us know, are we going at a pace which is making sense to you if you're new here? Don't be afraid to let us know if this is all a bit sort of strange for you. Now we're looking at these are the moving averages that you've got overlaid on this chart, Charlie. Is that the simple moving averages?
Yeah, these are some of the moving. I do actually use a few more moving averages, but when I'm doing a presentation to a group of people that I don't know, I take some of the others off because it's just too much. Otherwise, they tend to focus on the moving averages and not on the price, and so I tend to take a few off. But yeah, on this chart, I have an 8, a 20, a 50, a 200, and a 500, and all of those are simple moving averages. And I use moving averages because they are an average of price. And so they are average price based on either 8 bars back, 20 bars back, 50 bars back, etc., etc. And price likes to revert to its average price at times. It likes to stretch away from its average price and move back. So I find that moving averages are a very graceful way of using as part of the analysis that I do. So because they act like a tractor beam at times, and so I do like to have them on my chart.
Fantastic. Well, still getting some more people coming into the room, so welcome to you if you're just one of the few that's logged in the last few minutes. We are having a very brief webinar where we've got around about 15 minutes still to go. We're live with Charlie Burton of charlieburtontrading.com, and my name's Simon from Round the Clock Trader. And we've just been having a quick look at the live markets, the euro dollar, in anticipation of the ECB announcements tomorrow. But we also want to move into the focus of this evening, which is to ask Charlie to give us an update on his trading challenge. And this is a challenge that Charlie sets for himself. And I think it gives you the discipline to knowing that you're being scrutinized by all your traders, of course, that are in the community, but also those that are in public. I know you share the results of this widely on the internet as well. It's fantastic. So, sorry. Yeah, you know who that is, Charlie. Let's have a look, if we may, then look at the latest one, because you've done a few of these, but I think currently you're in the progress of building I think you started with a $10,000 account.
No.
Now this is real money. This is your real money on the line. And the target, if I'm correct, is it 70,000 as the target?
Well, a loose target. I started on this challenge with £20,000 on this one. I've done a few over the years now, and this one I started 2 years ago. So some of the people who are here tonight may well have seen me start this challenge. And you're absolutely right. It's knowing that you have to in 12 months' time, because I tend to do an update generally once every 12 months, unless I hit a milestone that I think is worthwhile mentioning. But knowing that you've got to do that is, it keeps you honest, doesn't it? And so, because whatever happens, I have to, give an update on where I'm at. Whether is he going to have done really well over this 12 months, or not so well, or whatever. So I think I enjoy doing it. I think the reason I started doing them years ago was to give traders belief in what they're doing, really, to say, right, okay, I'm doing this. And this is, yes, it's a speculative challenge, so I'm taking a bit more risk with it, but it gives people an idea of what can be achieved by trading the markets, using stop losses and using targets and all of that stuff, and not just pinning the tail on a donkey and then hoping.
I mean, that was one of the questions I wanted to ask. Do you employ the same risk metrics as you would do in trading in other funds and things for this, or do you allow yourself a little bit more? Set the stop loss a little bit further away, or
no? It's usually the other way around. Actually, with my funds, I tend to have wider stops. With the challenges, they tend to have tighter stops. So with my funds and my pension money that I trade, those I trade with lower risk. So I'm actually taking essentially the same trades, but it might be that I just give the trades more room. Whereas with the challenge, the very nature of the fact that it's more speculative is that if I bring the pen up so people can see on the screen. Yeah. So if this is my entry, and it's a good point you've just asked here, Simon. You're a very good questioner, by the way. If this is my entry here, on, let's say, a fund, one of my funds, my low risk fund, I might have a stop loss down here. And that's fine. And let's say my target is here. Okay, my take profit is up here. So I might take pretty much the same entry on a challenge account, but the challenge account, if I think I can, sneakily get away with it, I'll trade it more aggressively with a stop loss here. And what ends up happening is that my risk to reward becomes exponentially larger, if you see what I mean. Yeah. So it's some of these subtleties. It's not that I'm actually there are some different techniques that I'll use within the challenge. So I will sort of be a bit more aggressive in adding into my winning trades than I might be else on my lower risk funds. But in essence, the trades are the same, and the entries are the same. But a lot of the time, it might be the stop losses are different. And if I identify an opportunity with where I can get in with a tight stop, and I'll do that on the challenge, and it's that sort of stuff that I'll do on the challenge that I won't necessarily do on the larger funds. I'll just give them more room, and they're a lot slower in moving, if you see what I mean.
Fantastic.
So,
shall we have a look at I know you've got a portfolio report from Saxo, and
let's go through that.
I mean, this is the real annual report that you get yourself as a client?
Yeah, well, I just pull this off of the Saxo account that I'm trading here, the challenge account. So the first things first, it gives you all my name and stuff. Yes, my first name is actually Kevin. My middle name is Charles. Everyone calls me Charlie. That's what I prefer being called. But that's my full name there, and it has all my information on there.
Not a lot of people know that now, so you're privileged people to you're part of the gang.
Yeah. Simon knew me, and I had to sort of say to Simon many years ago, Simon, actually, all my friends, everyone personally calls me Charlie. Do you mind calling me Charlie? So, I think it took you a while to get used to that.
Very honoured. I find I'm now a friend, so there we are.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's that. But legally, that's still it. I haven't bothered going through the process. I've got the forms in my drawer, but I've never got around to doing it. So the account, this is the account summary. I mean, from 2 years ago. So it dipped straight away after the. I'll show you the chart in a minute. So it did. A typical. You start a challenge, and then it dips straight away, sort of thing. It's Murphy's law, isn't it?
We all know that feeling. Yeah, you start a trade.
Yeah, exactly. And but the account as of yesterday was sitting up at 59,382. Okay,
wow,
so it's saying 211%, but it's not actually quite 211. It's not. It's just under 200% because it was actually 20,000 it started with. I can't ever get the date. It doesn't want to give it to me because Saxo always have value dates and stuff, and it doesn't do it. But anyway, you'll see it easier on here. So you can see the starting point here. It gives you the equity curve of the account value. So you get an idea. People can get an idea of how the equity curve has of the value has moved around over the last 2 years. So literally, as we speak, the account has is right up at pretty much its highs. This point over here, and what I'm going to do actually, Simon, is I'm going to run through a number of trades that I did. So I'm going to go back to the charts after showing this account, the account here.
I mean, just to be clear for people that are here in the room that maybe haven't seen this before, we're not talking about a portfolio here. We're not talking about a portfolio of stocks or investments that have just grown over time as the markets have run up bullishly. I mean, we have until 6 months ago, of course, there's been a good run in the market, but this is an account it's a trading account. So you've been making trades effectively on the markets, on the indices and the Forex pairs. So you've added the value. It's all profit basically from profitable trades.
Yeah, I mean, really, from that initial whatever that period was, month or whatever of going underwater, then pretty much it's then just stayed, in profit throughout the whole time. And so yes, so it just gives you a different visual here on the chart. So, but this is again, it shows account value, which is a better metric than showing closed trades. So if I wanted to cheat, I could cheat people and open up an MT4 account, plug it into something, and actually I could cheat even showing an MT4 P&L, or if I plugged it into something like my FX book, it's easy to cheat because you can have an account showing only closed trades. And you could be underwater massively on open trades. So, and people do that sort of stuff. So anyway, this is direct, like I said, this is a proper broker and a proper published report that I've just pulled off here today. So, so it's based on account value, as I've just said. And so during this period here, I was having a really nice run. This was all open. A lot of this was open profits. I remember this going into the end of May 2021, and then it just rolled over. And I'll show you these trades in a moment, actually. And so, and it was the open profit that got up to made this equity high, and then because I didn't bank it, it just then rolled back again. And so that's what some of that is about. But generally speaking, we can sort of see that this is the reality of trading, that you have good runs like that. And it's lovely when you get a nice steady equity return like that. And I'll show you what produced that in a minute as well, and how I was trading through that. I'll show you what was affecting effectively this drawdown, I was having some nice, I was getting into some nice trades, which you could see the equity was starting to grow. But then what was actually happening is because I hadn't banked these trades, then the market was just then retracing against me, and then I was getting stopped out. So a bit of a period there whereby you're just getting into trades, but they're just not quite running far enough for you to bank them. But that's the reality of trading until then. And then if you carry on following your, as I always say to my members, carry on following your processes, then, and you don't worry about this sort of stuff, because it's going to happen to any trader. You're going to go through periods whereby either your strategy is not working, or you're getting into good trades, but they're just not getting to their targets, and they're just rolling back over again. So every trader is going to experience all of that sort of stuff, and that's what goes on in the challenge account here as well. And so I don't know what's about to happen next. It's obviously having a pretty good run overall, but who knows what happens next with it. I'm pretty certain that as we go over the next year, there'll be another load of zigzaggy lines, but I'd be fairly confident that over the next couple of years that it should be working its way higher to some degree or another. That's just, I can't control where ultimately it'll go. Now, you said this 70,000. So I put that 20,000 in. Oh, it's a different chart there. So if I just go back to the previous screen there. So I had targeted 70,000 as a target, but I quite enjoy doing these challenges now. I don't day trade on this. It's not taking up lots of my time. I'm just putting the trades on here when I'm placing other trades. So I'm going to continue doing it anyway. And just so the 70,000, I'm not going to, if price got there to 70,000 in the coming whatever time period, I'm not going to stop trading. And so I'm just going to carry on trading on it anyway. And
you can't tell us. We're trying to do a webinar, not asking you to reveal how you do it exactly, the strategies, because you do that with the people in your members in the community. So I mean, and that's totally understandable. However, can you give us an insight into maybe how frequent you think it's more of a swing trading approach?
Yeah,
that you take.
It is, and so most of the trades are swing trading approach. But the funny thing is that many of these swing trades actually, I use multiple time frame analysis. That's one of the techniques that I'm effectively using. I use specific strategies for entry, but they're useless without the analysis. And so the analysis for me has to come first. So I use a top-down approach. So I have to go to higher time frames first to then get that overall picture as to whether I am bullish on a market and want to buy it, or bearish on a market and want to sell it. So top-down analysis. But a lot of the trades, not all of them, but a good number, actually, I've been waiting for a setup to come along, and I've actually got into the trade, even though I'm looking to run it as a swing, but I may well have got into it off of a 4-hour chart or even an hourly chart. And so that does happen as well. So what I'm going to do is just talk you through the euro dollar here, because over 80% of the trades, probably over 90% actually, of the trades that have made up the trading challenge have been on the euro dollar. I've got a sneaking suspicion one or two of the people who are here tonight are my members anyway. So it started around here this June of 2020. So I had analysis. Top-down approach was that on the higher time frame, I was looking for a larger retracement. So if I go out to the quarterly chart here, and I'm going to have to whiz through a little bit just because I appreciate we can't sit here all night going through everything. But in essence, I was looking, this was what we're talking about here. So it's just this little period here. This was March of 2020, sorry, that first quarter there of 2020. The euro was sitting on this long-term trend line, as you can see here. And it was either going to break and start to break down and head towards parity then, or we were going to see an up move. And if we did see an up move, I was looking for it to run up to test. You know, I was talking about earlier on about moving averages acting like tractor beams. So, and it was this 50 period moving average on my quarterly chart was one of the reasons that I was looking for the long side. Having, as soon as it started coming up here, I was looking at this to still hold on to this trend line and actually work for a retracement to that 50 there. So anyway, so back to the daily charts now. I know I'm going through fast, but I've got to go through a fair few market moves here that I traded. So that constitutes this, basically this run here. Yeah, I was trading it through here. Then we did a pullback, and you saw the equity curve earlier on of that first sort of, I don't know how long it was, the first year or first 9 months, whatever. And it was a very, the equity curve was really nice. And it's because I just hit the sweet spot. And that happens in trading. You just hit the sweet spot at times. So I literally, with my members, was trading on the long side. We took some profits up here. I kid you not. Then we bought back in this zone, a couple of places here. So we bought back in zone in there. And then we took some profit up in this zone somewhere here. And then we waited. And we didn't do, there was hardly anything I did through this period here. We bought, I say we, I was buying, and some members were trading along with me, but they might be trading along with me, but at different leverage and stuff. So bearing in mind on the challenge account, I'll call trades with our members, but in the challenge account, I might be doing some extra little bits and pieces because it is more speculative. So I'll be adding to my trades a bit sooner than I'll be doing with them. So anyway, so we bought again about here and then waited for it to break up, and then started buying more here and then adding through this zone through here. So overall, don't get me wrong, there's still losing trades within this where I try trades and you just get stopped out because your stops are tight or whatever. But it was, like I said, a period where there was a wonderful trend, and literally I was holding out for, I think 123 at the time, around about 123. But we got into about mid-December. I think it would, yeah, it was when it pulled back here and it was sitting around here. And I just said, you know what? I've had enough. I've now been trading this since May of this year. And some positions I'd been holding all for months and months. Some I'd traded in and out of, some I'd held as a core position. And I said, look, for the sake of the last 100 pips, we're done. We're middle of December. That's it. And so it was around that sort of time that I exited. And that was it. And sometimes, just so the viewers know, that when you do, and I'm sure many of them are aware of this, that when you hold on to a trade for a significant amount of time, actually it's quite difficult to let it go because you get you have to be careful not to get too attached to it. You have to be able to let it go if it's done enough. And it got so close to the levels that I was talking about, some of those target levels. Sometimes there's an old phrase, don't be a dick for a tick. So that's what we did. So and then really going forward from there, funnily enough, what was going on at this point right into the end of December. Now, I always go away, as you know, Simon, my wife and I say always, but over the last several years, over Christmas, we tend to go down to Cornwall and rent a cottage or a house down there with friends and stuff, and walk the dogs and all that sort of stuff. But I never stop trading. I may be on a holiday, but I don't stop trading. So I was still calling trades for our members even while I'm away, because I have a phone app and then they get notifications. So we're not in the trading room at that point. We're on holiday. But and anyway, so I remember I had a few attempts at a short up here. The market, the market analysts, your Reuters of the world, your CNBCs, your Bloombergs, were all at this point talking about how much higher the euro was going to go against the dollar. So you've got all of this, the media was getting hyped about the euro against the dollar, and euro positioning amongst hedge funds was at all-time highs. So it was extreme readings. And so I'm looking at the charts and I'm thinking, we've got a massive divergence from over here. So I was trading a divergence pattern from these highs to this high. There was a big divergence on the weekly charts. I'll show you in a second so people can see. And this is what I use my MACD indicator for down here, without going into too much detail about how I use it. But there we are. So there's point 1. I'll call this high point 1, which is what I was just showing on the daily charts. This is point 2, high 2, and there's the corresponding 1 and 2 there. So we had this divergence. The peaks were lower, and yet on the MACD indicator, and yet price had gone higher and had gone into a lot of resistance as well. So it hit a load of resistance up there. I'll take it back down to that daily chart now. And it had these divergences on the weekly time frames. Where is it? There it is. And this is what I was just talking about here. And it also had divergences on the 4-hour charts as well, coming back to using smaller time frames. So I ended up getting into a trade off a 4-hour chart here, and then running it and continue. I ran it all the way down to, I kid you not, down to about as close to that low as I've put my line. But within this, I was trading in and out as well. So I was trading other positions, held onto a core position from up here. And I know this sounds like, oh, really, Charlie? Yeah, that's why you see the account having done what it's done. But I'm also going to show you where it didn't work as well, because it's not all, a beauty pageant.
How many trades might that be on?
Oh, well, this is over a period of 3 months. So I held the core position, but certainly there were points within this where I added. So I added positions. I remember back here as well. Definitely took some profit off down here, because this was hitting a key moving average down here, 100 moving average, which I haven't got on at the moment. And so myself and my members targeted this down here. And then I re-shorted with new positions up here. That was looking really good for a few days when it started rolling over. I'm thinking, oh, this is handy. This is starting to look good as well. And then it just turned back up. And then stopped me out there. So I did get stop outs, where I'm trying some other trades within this. So this is over a 3-month period. So there would have been a number of trades, but we were certainly holding on to the core.
This is the sense of having a longer term position, having an understanding of the longer term trend, so that when you're looking at short term anomalies, you know that longer term the price is going to return normally to that level.
Yeah, you don't know anything, and one thing I always say to people, there is no. Yeah. I know what you're saying. Appreciate what you're saying, but
likelihood,
it's a piece of analysis, and you have to stay true to your analysis. And so I'll stay true to my analysis until the market does something else. And so my analysis was calling for the market to come right down to here, which was, I'm going to show you in a second what that level actually was. So so I'm carrying on trading in the direction of the analysis is the main point of the bigger picture analysis, which was at that point looking to shorting from up here. And it's not just a technical thing. Like I've already said, there was a lot of sentiment going on there as well. Then you've got the macro picture as well as the technical picture. So there's a lot more going on than, it's just a strategy. And this is why I always say there's so much more to trading than just a strategy. But certainly there were the technicals involved, which gave me the levels. But there had to be a bit more than that as far as this trade as well. But yeah, this level here, see this is my 50-week moving average. I've gone back to the weekly time frame now. And this was what I was targeting. So I'd shorted up here at the end of December and then did a load of trading through that, but all on the short side. Some of which got stopped out by noise and then getting in as well, but holding that core position all the way through. And I came out, I exited. I very often will exit just a bit ahead of the actual target. So I didn't come out right at the absolute low as I just showed on the previous target, the previous time frame. But that's where I
Yeah, we get this question a lot. People are obsessed with trying to nail the highs and the lows, and it's a bit of a misdirection to aim for that, because really you make the money on the movement between the two.
I just got lucky. It was one of those sorts of trades where I got in close to the highs, but like I said, I was taking some profits along the way, and then just holding on to a core position, then having to find new entries to get in with new trades. So I am trading in and out of this move. But you're absolutely right. Most of the time you don't get that, and certainly that's what that helped that first sort of 9 months or however long it was of the challenge account trading, because sometimes you're just in the main, you're in the sweet spot, and you're getting some lumpy trades coming along there. And then the irony was I then bought it because it had come down to the weekly 50 with my traders. We bought a little bit later. So where's that low again? Here it was. So we got in a bit here. So we waited for a bit of confirmation, and we got in here. And you'd be thinking, oh, great. So now I'm going to give you the flip side to what I've just said. So sometimes you are in the sweet spot, and everybody can have that. But it's how you deal with the periods when you're not in the sweet spot. That's what makes you as a trader.
That's the test, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. And so it was around here. I think personally on the challenge account, I was in a little bit earlier. But then got in with my members a bit. It was on this day, actually, this big up day here. So we got in on this day. I still remember. It's amazing how much I remember of trades. That day, we'd put an order to buy on a pullback. It missed the order, I remember this, by 4 pips, and then just shot up intraday. And I said, okay, that's it. Let's pay up. So we paid up, and I'm glad we did pay up, because that was this day here that just continued going higher. And if we'd have carried on waiting, we never would have got in. But anyway, so it all looks fine, doesn't it? But the thing is, with the challenge account, I will add to the positions as we go along. So I'm adding to the positions, So by the time we got up to here, the little challenge account that I'm trading had, certainly by the time we got up to here, it was about I'm not looking at the P&L all the time, but I'd certainly seen £16,000 in open profit by the time we were into this sort of zone. Maybe it'd been a bit higher, I don't know. But the thing is, so I've built that profit up, but of course, price doesn't have to go down as much because I've been buying at higher prices, and I'm not like moving my stops up so aggressively that I just get stopped out too soon. So I always like to give a trade, room to breathe, as I often call it. So I gave it that room to breathe and gave back most of that open profit. I think I cut it once it got down to like the last whatever it was.
That's why you remember that day.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, over here, whenever it was over here, then by the time it was down to here, then it was probably about it, and so then just cut it. But that's what I will do with the challenge account, is I will use the buffer that I've created in the prior trading in the equity. So I'm going to use some of that buffer to say, okay, yeah, this is a speculative challenge. I'm going to say, okay, well, some of this profit that I've previously made, I am going to put to use in this, and I'm going to make a sacrifice on that profit. If that profit comes back down and I give it back, then so be it. And then I'll just move on to the next trades. But if it doesn't, and it works in my favor, then I get a compound effect on there. So there's all sorts of things I do.
Interesting. The interesting words, speculating, gambling. We hear them a lot in trading. I think speculating is not gambling. I think it is making informed decisions. You don't know for sure what the outcome's going to be, but yes, there is a difference. There is a difference. Charlie, this is amazing. I'm conscious that we've already exceeded. I'm enjoying listening to you. We've exceeded our time, but we still want to talk a little bit tonight about you keep mentioning the members, because you do trade with the members, and you all go on these journeys together, which is great. So that's one of the reasons we wanted to invite people here tonight, because we have got, I've convinced you to open up a special offer to the round the clock trader community, to let them get inside the room and
Okay.
feel around and try out all these things we've got. Well, you've got the page there as well, right? Great. If I can ask, first of all, does anybody have any questions on what we've been looking at with Charlie already? Did that make sense to you, looking at these charts? Any questions that we might answer before we'd like to tell you a bit about exactly what Charlie's offering with Charlie Burton Trading, because they've been up and running now since about Christmas time with the new business.
Yeah.
This is only March. Wow, because I know that it's going very well, and nobody ever doubted it would. But huge amount of support and new traders coming to you all the time through different sources. Talking with the likes of myself and so forth.
But it's much appreciated that we're getting that message out there as well. So that's, I'm really enjoying the interactions with new members as well as our existing members.
Well, I mean, I don't think if you didn't have a 20+ year history in the markets, whether people would be so quick. But this is the thing: you do have this long-running position. You've been featured, the BBC programs and various other media and radio over the years as well. Not to mention coming to the shows, which I do. But people, I think it gives them confidence to see someone that's been in the market for a long time. You're going to be around for a long time. You do, and people have been with you, trading with you for a long time. So that sort of says it all. This industry is full of people that you haven't heard of before. All of a sudden, they're offering you the world, and then the next day you can't get in touch with them. So it's part of what I do around the clock trader is try to provide a filter for people that come into the markets, to, let's say, steer them away from the people that are not reliable enough. So before you hand over any money to training courses or broker accounts or any products, I can act as maybe a sort of a beacon to say, look, these are the good people to have a look at, and that's all we're doing here at Round the Clock Trader, and that's what we're doing tonight. Is seeing, but we have convinced Charlie to say, look, can we open the doors for 30 days and let people have free access to the full gold membership it is, which includes several things. So let's maybe just take a few minutes and look at that. And by the way, I've noticed that the people that are here, there's about we doubled in about the last 15-20 minutes. We're with Charlie Burton of Charlie Burton Trading. We've looked at some live markets. We've been looking at the way Charlie's been trading his challenge account. It's 200% growth is very, very good. This is all recorded though, so you don't worry if you think, well, I've missed everything. Come back once we finish the live session. Come back in, and you'll be able to see that. We are live now. It's just sort of 10 to 8 p.m. UK time. So once we finish this live session, we'll wrap up in about 5 minutes, and then you can come and catch what we were talking about before, because it was very interesting. Charlie was looking at some of the live charts, the euro dollar from today, and making some of the outlooks for tomorrow. But we have got a special page that Charlie's brought up on his screen now. It's the special Round the Clock Trader RTCT offer page, which is going to give you access to Charlie's gold membership program. As you can see, it includes a huge amount of things. What you get for that, you're going to get access to live programs every day. I think there's 2 market analysis sessions. Well, Charlie, maybe you can quickly.
Yeah, you better stop there, Simon, because yeah. Yeah, so the gold membership package is what our gold members get is one, they get access to all my video tutorials with all my strategies and all that sort of stuff. That's there. It's held on our members. We have a members area. Members can go in there and they can watch 12 hours worth of footage. But almost more importantly than that is the trading room, the online trading room. Now, you don't have to be a day trader to be there. 80% of our members are not day traders, but every trading room session that I do, there's usually about 4 to 5 hours of trading room sessions per day throughout the day. We just put them into we send a calendar out each. I think there's a copy of a calendar down here. So a calendar goes out each week. Sam sends a calendar out. My PA, she sends a calendar. So all our members know exactly when the sessions are. Most of the sessions are the same each week. Then we'll have special sessions like tomorrow, for example. It's ECB day, live trading ECB, so that goes in. But then there'll be other sessions like Mindset Monday or Back to Basics or Technical Tuesday or Strategy Corner. They're regulars. So even if you have a full-time job, you can just log into the trading room anytime you like, any day, time of the day or week, and download the recordings anyway and watch the recordings in your own time or cherry pick the recordings you want to watch. And along with that, we have our own Charlie Burton trading app, and our members can download that. And when I take a trade, because I'm authorized, as you said earlier on, as a money manager, so I'm authorized to be able to call trades. So if I take a trade when I'm in the trading room, then I always put it onto the app as well. So people get a notification whilst they're sitting there, on the beach or whatever they might be doing. So there is a huge amount that we have. And alongside all of that, and I'm forgetting what else is in there, but there's a huge amount. So it's centered around the education and the live trading. So people are seeing my theory going into all the analysis and live real trades as well that they can trade along with and learn from. That's the important thing. It's that people are learning whilst they're seeing how I manage the trades, how I go about the analysis and all of that, and putting the market into the right context as we go forward. So, and now the challenge, we've been talking about the challenge tonight. Our gold members, I think it probably says on here, our gold members can actually, if they want to, they don't have to, but they can hook up an account, because I've made the challenge account available, because it's fully regulated, that they can actually have an account hooked up to the challenge account, the master account, and when I'm trading the challenge account, it disperses those trades through to any member who wants that as well. And that's just the privilege of being a member. But as you said, Simon, I have done a deal, well, I say a deal, but I've done this for you and your members, whereby if they come to this link, charlieburtontrading.com/RTCT, I think you've put the link up, and they click on become a gold member. When I click through, there we go. The first 30 days are free if they use this promotion code. So all they have to do is click here, promo code, put in RTCT, is it 30? And then hit apply. There we go. And it brings it down to 0 for that first 30 days. You still have to put your information in, but you become a fully fledged gold member. If you decide within that 30 days you don't want to continue, you can absolutely just cancel, and not a problem. I want people to stay, obviously, in our community and learn from what we have. But at least if someone comes in and just wants to have a snoop around, well, you're welcome to do that, because I'm quite confident in what we have anyway. And if you decide it's not for you, then that's fine too. But for us and what we're trying to do here is to try and give people the realities of trading. And that's what it all comes back down to, I guess. It's the realities of, this is real trading from a real professional money manager doing everything I do, and you seeing me going through all of this stuff with you to help our members become better traders and improved traders themselves. But having said that, I've got 30-year veteran bond traders in my trading room. I've got traders who have been trading for 17 years themselves in the trading room. So we've got a real, it's not just newer traders who might have only been at it for less than a year or a year to 5 years. We've got a huge expanse of experience in there, and that's really good because our other members can tap into the experience of some of those senior members as well. And some of those senior members also do put on the odd sessions for me, like someone's doing a session for me tonight as well. So yeah, it's pretty broad brushed experience there.
Huge amount. It's a fabulous community. Congratulations on getting it all set up. David is asking a question. He says, it's almost August. He's away, I'm guessing, on holiday first week, maybe first 2 weeks of August. Can he take advantage of this offer, but perhaps forward date it until he comes back from holiday? Or is there any way that could be done with Sam? Or
I don't know. I don't want to make it too complex.
Yeah.
So if he goes away in August, where are we now? We're only on the 20th of July now. So he would. I don't know. When did he say he's going away?
It didn't. It just said the first part of August. So
right. Okay. Yeah. I mean, he could join if he did it now. He would still get well, at least 11 days of experiencing the room before he went, or as a minimum, unless if he's going away on the 1st of August. But
you have to pay for the holiday. You never know.
Yeah. You never know what's going on. I mean, at the moment, the guys and girls who are connected to the challenge accounts as well, I'm already up 8% in the last 2 months on that since I kicked that off, which is, some people say, oh, that doesn't sound like a lot, but this is professionally managed. I'm not gambling. We talked about this earlier on. It's speculating, but it's doing it in the right way. I'm not trying to make 100% a week or a month. I'm trying to make, maybe 50% in a year. And so, but yeah, coming back to what you said, people can end up having their, the subscriptions almost paid for or more than paid for from the from the challenge trading.
Depends on how much money you start with. A big question: how much money do you need to start trading? In terms of putting into the fund, what is the normal size that people put in? Is there a minimum? Or
yeah, I mean, there is a minimum of 3,000 in that. Look, I wouldn't want people, although I've talked about it here tonight. I would want someone to join the community first, find their, get used to me, get used to the whole community, and enjoy being part of that community before leaping into that as well. Don't get me wrong, they can leap into it, but yes, the minimum would be 3,000 into that, because position size wise, we just can't accept accounts any lower than that. Maximums, I did say to our members originally 2 months ago, look, a maximum of 15,000, but I've spoken to the broker who's facilitating all of this along with my asset management company, and he said, Charlie, he said, you're still such a safe, he's been my broker for years. He said, you're such a safe pair of hands. He said, I don't think you're giving your clients credit, when you're saying, no, you can't put any more than 15,000 in. So we've actually opened it to just say to people, and he will, do his financial health checks with people and to make sure they're not investing 50,000. If 50,000 is all of their investable assets, then they're not allowed to do that. So it's all about making sure that people are sensible with their investments. So there isn't an open end. It is open ended. There's no cap anymore.
Yeah, and of course we should have said at the outset of the webinar, we normally do, that everything that we do talk about on these webinars are educational. Obviously, don't take anything that you see as solicitation to buy or sell a stock or take a trade. Do your own research. These are all the standard disclaimers that we must do. We are not a regulated firm ourselves, so just to make that clear. Charlie, thank you so much. As usual, our 30 minutes has gone to 60, and I think we feel all the better for it. We've had double what we were expecting. So thank you. On behalf of everybody that's here, thank you very much for giving us your time tonight. And it's very valuable with that schedule that you've got. You do enough these extra. Simon calling up, hey Charlie, can you come and join us for a webinar? So thanks very much indeed. Replays available, everybody. Any questions, come and ask me. Take advantage of the 30-day offer. There's nothing to lose.
It's a no-brainer. Yeah.
Come
and join us. Enjoy 30 days or whatever you can do. Come in as and when you can. You might as well. There's nothing to lose.
Fabulous. Charlie Burton, charlieburtontrading.com. Thanks again. Good night.